Funny story.
Funny story?
Have you been on Twitter at all today?
No, I've been working.
Good. So last night, I posted that little comment about how Zenkaiger I feel is just as bad as Goanger and Kyuranger.
Yeah.
So apparently, somehow it blew up all over Twitter and
Your post?
My post blew up all over Twitter and triggered the entire Toku community. Got all pissed off because they're like, "How can you judge the entire show by 2 episodes?" And how can you say Goanger is a bad series? How can you say Kyuranger is a bad series? Kyuranger is one of the best Sentai series ever made. And gets even better. It even laid into people doing like racial insults. Like one person called me a cracker. One person said this is why white boys don't know how to review Japanese media. And all these other things. Oh no. It has 95 retweets from people hating it. I've never had a post that hated that much, and it wasn't even political.
Was anybody at least pro you?
Some people were like, "You guys do know he has his right to his own opinion," and it was just hilarious. It was quite fun responding to these posts this morning because it's like, oh my god, this is so much fun. If I knew I could trigger Twitter by something like that, I would have did this a long time ago.
So, my working in a crazy regular environment.
Oh, and apparently a lot of people were into math with my post, using ratios and stuff like that.
What?
I don't know.
So,
But yeah.
What?
Yeah, see?
You had 1 retweet, 94 quote tweets.
Oh, quote tweets, yeah. But
okay. So
so if you don't know by now, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and this is
Kralika Kane. I'm worried about people.
Oh yeah, one person had put one of my normal
Real Soldier was lit.
apparently.
Lit. Okay. No. We have to do the review. The review. All right.
But this is for Zenkaiger episode 2.
And so I'm going to throw the gauntlet out there that we're going to continue watching this show and reviewing this show, because if people are this impassioned, I must see this through. So first, to redirect towards your tweet storm, because apparently you pissed off a whole ton of people.
And I don't even know how.
And you didn't even call anybody a terrible thing, do a terrible thing, or get political. I don't know if I should be proud of you or concerned about the world in whole.
But yeah, it was quite fun.
So Goanger, to be fair, I haven't seen the series in completion. However, I have watched a number of episodes outside of him reviewing stuff, and the show did not cater to me. Kyuranger, I watched the series from episode 1 to whatever the final number was.
I don't remember at this point.
That show was not as great as sliced bread.
Maybe not even spoiled bread.
Not even crushed bread. And I hate crushed bread. But, this is, if you haven't seen our pop culture therapy on gatekeeping, this is the perfect example of gatekeeping. You were not saying that you refused to watch the series. You were not saying that anything outside of your simplistic opinion about 2 bloody episodes. Now, do I agree with you?
You better.
Yes and no. I will defend you. I am a ride or die bitch. But, so I will defend you to the world. However, I don't think you're the most evilest incarnate person, and I'm not saying this just because I'm married to you. Truthfully, because I'm married to you, I actually see you in reality. But, okay, my love.
Alright, anyway.
Let's get back to this review. I apologize, everyone. I was confused because I've worked for 12 hours and I had no idea what was going on. And he apparently didn't disturb me during work to tell me what was going on. I'm proud of him for that.
Because I figured it'd be more fun to find out as we were recording.
So nevertheless, episode 2. The Gao Beast is troublesome.
Okay. Was that what it was called?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that, but...
So, obviously, this is the introduction of the Yellow Ranger, or Ranger New 3, Gao. So, obviously, if you are on Twitter, or you just heard this lovely experience, he did not like the episode.
Oh, I hated the episode. I was ready to turn it off 5 minutes in.
I was not as enamored as I was with the first episode, but I didn't hate it. Gao was kind of funny with his reaction to Juron and Kaito, and then all the cute cats and dogs and animals. But I will say he didn't do anything Predator-like. And I was very disappointed there was no Predator-like thing from Gao with the hair. That's all I want is something Predator-like when you have that motif. So I will say for this episode, the villains went down a tier, which I did not know was possible because as far as I was aware, you couldn't go below 0, but they found a way. Still, it does not sound like Joji Nakata for me for a wall monster. He did get some air, though, when he pounded his fist against the floor, and they literally flew up even higher this time. I was pretty impressed. We did find out that the gears that were used in the episode were made of conquered planets, and they were created by the war machine.
Really tready guy.
Yes, the
wheelie tready guy.
Yes.
We'll go with...
I don't remember his name.
Because the villains are the Toji Tendo, I think?
Yes, they're basically like a Yakuza clan.
Toji Tendo.
But, so the monster of the week was Mushroom Monster.
He was not a fun guy.
I think well, obviously you don't want to go with the druggy type mushroom like they do in Cowboy Bebop or other things. However, I think that would have been much funnier. But they do go with like the different types of textures of mushrooms. Not necessarily a great thing either, but they did. The other thing to note in this particular episode is that Kaito rides Juron in a mech version. That sounds terrible if I don't say it otherwise. And basically they're doing a membership drive and nobody wants to join. Even Gao, he just wants to become friends with Kaito. He doesn't want to fight because he doesn't like Kitatoids. Or Kikainoids? Kikainoids, yes. Kikainoids. And so he's prejudiced against his own kind. I kind of feel like they're going to go with that motif throughout the series because episode 1 was humans being prejudiced against the Kikainoids. And now episode 2, you have your own character one of the characters that's prejudiced. And as I was looking, surprisingly, in Toku Nation, because no one else has episode summaries, and I'm very rarely on Toku Nation, but one thing that I really liked that somebody said was, because I think the same thing, is how is Gao going to be able to fight with a team where there's only one human? So, if the writer is smart, or the head writer, or the show writers, whoever does all of this stuff, should use that as a story development tool for that character. You have it written on a big wall. Story development. I'm a little afraid because Real Soldier had story development written on a big wall. And somebody just wrote on magic marker, next episode. And that's it. So, I kind of feel like the first 5 episodes are going to be very slow paced. Because, well, first 4 episodes, truthfully. Because you're building up so much. You're trying to build up all the characters. Not that that's an excuse for poor writing or slow development, but I kind of feel that that's what's going to be happening right now. I will say the highlight of the episode, no matter how much CGI in there, was the transformation scene for Zenkaiger.
When they kissed each other?
No! When they basically became 2 halves, literally, of the mech.
So basically when they kissed each other and then merged together.
I wasn't thinking of the kiss part. I was thinking of the merging part.
Okay. So yeah, the CGI. Oh,
There was way too much CGI in this episode compared to the first episode.
my God. So we have the CGI mushrooms everywhere. CGI mushrooms. When they're mech battle, CGI Mushroom City. We've got when they first transform, the 3 of them are fighting in a CGI blazing background.
They were.
That was ridiculous. The bird base or the Zenkaiger base is a CGI background. The villain base is a CGI background.
Well, I'm wondering if this is a result of COVID at the same time.
I don't know, but it's horrible.
Because
it looks bad. And that CGI when Juran and Kaito came to try to recruit people, that CGI for the T-Rex there was awful. Because that looked like they really were just standing in front of a green screen city.
So the concern I have with the usage of CGI is I really do feel, without proof and no verification at this particular moment, that it is kind of related to COVID. Because Japan, compared to many, many other nations, has a really good grip on their COVID cases. Because they really know about the social distancing and keeping people safe.
That's because they're used to it.
Yes and no, but they are more socially responsible when it comes to the health and safety of their population compared to many others.
Like America.
Exactly. So I kind of feel that the CGI is being used as a way for them not to have to be in so many public spaces.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't. But even the bases, it's like they don't need to just green screen all the bases.
No, I agree, and I really do hope they can ease back from it a little bit because it is too much. This episode, I would say, is more than 60% CGI. And it was very disappointing to see so much CGI in a 22-minute episode.
Even the mushroom on Gowan's head was CGI the entire time. Well, yeah, I didn't like the episode at all.
Well, obviously, Twitter.
I did like, there were a few things I did like. I did like when Gowan gets the gun and just shoots the grunt on the left side, and just like Juran did, and even Juran's like, hey, I did the same thing.
I'm like, what is the meaning of people the moment they get a gun? Do they not do gun safety?
Another thing I did like, actually, was when the blue bot dude when he's cleaning and he notices that after they destroyed the mushroom monster dude, that the mushroom world disappeared from existence. So I'm hoping...
Well, existence there. It went back to its own place. It was released.
No, it was wiped out of existence.
Ah.
Because he said that, this just disappeared.
I thought it disappeared because it was released.
So I'm hoping then that means there's going to be some type of plot where they find out that any monsters, when they destroy the gears they destroy, is going to affect that universe and destroy that universe.
Well, I was a little surprised when they used some of the other Sentai teams again.
Well, I wasn't surprised, but I do not like the interruption they do of CGI bird thing going to talk about that team that they're using. I feel like it completely disrupted the flow of the fight.
Well, it does for the immersion, and I kind of feel as though we had an anniversary series recently enough where fans know classic series. And it's not like they don't talk about it in Japan. So even if you didn't watch Zenkaiger, it still exists.
But now the one thing that really bugged me is how nobody's taking this threat of the invasion seriously. Oh, we've got mushrooms in our head. Okay, that's cool. It's kind of cute. Like, no one is taking this a threat at all.
Well, you even noticed that in the first episode, too. The moment all the Kikainoids came, it was like, we just have more people.
For me, then, it completely diminishes the entire threat of the villains because no one's taking it seriously.
Well, and I don't expect, this major police force to come in because very few Sentai series have that separate police force unless
it would be something interesting, though.
It would be something different to do. I think...
Because they haven't done that since Time Ranger.
Well, and there was a reference to Kaito's parents because there was talk of, how do you know about the gears sort of thing because he shows off his own stuff. And the villain's like, So I'm figuring that's going to come into play. I'm hoping, in a way, they do save it where it can be a series-long plot device. But I kind of feel like if they did that, it could potentially drag it out if they didn't do it correctly. Or if they did do it too soon, it'd make you feel like, okay, what's the point of the rest of the series? It's kind of like what I would say Rube did for Ultraman.
Oh, where they knocked out the best part, halfway through?
Because I kind of felt like that really...
With Makoto?
Mm-hmm. Because it kind
Aizen,
yeah. But it kind of felt like once they did that, the show went down. So the way they're building up the plot for this show, which I will give them credit compared to Q Ranger and Go Onger, is for both of those series, they didn't have an early defined plot. They had little filler things, but they didn't have an actual foundation at the start.
Well, I'm still not sure what I think about Kaito. I'm still undecided. I don't know if I like him or if I hate him or if I'm just meh on him.
Right now, I will say...
I think we need to wait to see how he actually interacts with his full team.
He is proving little by little, and I don't know if this is the detriment of the story writing or a positive for him, he is proving that he can carry it. At least in these last couple of episodes.
Well, it's only been 2 episodes.
I know, but you have to give him credit.
All I know is he used no Juru.
Well, it's not... And this is the complaint I have even about myself, and I think for so many people... is you can't compare Sentai series to apples to apples. They're all...
You can.
You can and you can't. You can compare them like you did for your tweet of saying it reminded you of those two other series that you felt were poorly written. Where others could say, this reminds me of this series, which I enjoyed. You can say that, but you can't put it on an equal weight because they're two different things.
Whatever.
It's like comparing Cowboy Bebop to Escaflowne. They're both good, but they're two different narratives.
Well, they're two different genres, so that doesn't work. Maybe saying Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star.
Okay, fine. Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star. You can't compare them on equal platforms. Yes, they came out around the same time. Yes, they're both anime, but they're not equal in their narrative. That's why you can't, as much as I want this series to be as good, I know it's not going to be.
Whatever. So then, let's see. The other thing that really did annoy me was Galan. Okay, so he's got that mushroom stuck in his head.
Mm-hmm.
When he's fighting, though, after he transforms, they really should have got rid of that mushroom because the entire time he's fighting, all I'm doing is my attention is stuck on the mushroom.
Well, I will say that was a huge frustration for me as well, because it was distracting. And for being his first outing, I thought it was kind of a
well, yeah, because it would have been
face.
like if the first time we saw Kirame Blue was when he had that vice on his head for the battle. At least develop him before you do put like the extra stuff on them for the episode.
Well,
I also did like when the mushroom guy forgot that he was, or when he was being first transformed, he starts doing stuff and the robot's Wheelie McTreddy is like, why are you saying shroom? Well, I figured since I'm now a mushroom monster, I'm just going to add shroom to every sentence I say.
well, they're trying, and see, this is where I kind of felt like certain things had a saving grace because they're trying. Like Kyoger, I didn't feel was trying.
You know what also I think though? It's that opening theme. The opening theme, I hate it. I hate that opening theme. So I think that also is what completely ruined the episode for me, is because I had this opening theme that I find to be just utter dog shit. Just completely killed my entire movie.
Here's a question. If the theme was at the end of the episode, would you hate it as much?
I would still hate it, but at least as an ending theme, it would fit better.
So I will say, the first time I watched it, I didn't mind it. This time, mainly because we had to watch it twice in a row because the computer froze, I will say I didn't enjoy it as much. I know what they're going for. I know that because in common practice in American television, which is something I think I hope they don't do it for anime, but I think one thing they're tracking on is most shows now have an opening, but they don't have a closing. Because they try to butt up all of their time to add more time for the episode, because they also have the commercial breaks
Or
too.
in the case of One Piece, they make the first 8 minutes the recap.
Well, I also think the reason they're doing that is because aren't there more commercials in Japanese television now? So, at least by getting rid of one of them, they're shortening how much filler they have.
I just don't like that they practically put the ending theme as the opening theme. That's what completely ruins it for me.
I think the reason why they did it for the dance, made it still where it exists, is because that's a popular thing in Japan.
Yeah, but look at Lupin Ranger. That opening theme was awesome. It fit with the entire show.
Well, Karen Major's opening was great.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is because Lupin Ranger didn't have an ending theme. But they had a really awesome, energetic opening song that even if the episodes weren't great, the opening song still at least got you engaged, wanting to watch the episode, whereas this just completely drained me out of wanting to even watch the episode. And I think that's the biggest issue I'm having, is that by the time the ending theme's done, I'm like, okay, we're done. Episode's over. Oh, it's not over. Yay.
Well, then when we continue to watch the show, let's skip the opening. Well, let's try that for episode 3. Have you skip the opening theme song and see how you feel about the episode without that distraction in the way.
And then make it at the ending?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's test that and see how it works. I've seen worse series. Technically, he has seen worse series. I understand.
Go on, Jer.
I understand where people are coming from in their argument of how can you rate a series as the worst ever after 2
Which
episodes.
is funny because I didn't even say it was the worst series ever. I just said that it's in the same range as Go On, Jer and Q Ranger.
And people in their commentary was saying that how can you judge it after 2 episodes? Anyone is allowed to judge anything after however many episodes. We stopped watching Saber after 1. Did the world blow up?
No.
Did the world go crazy because you stopped watching Kamen Rider Saber? What is so different about Super Sentai? I have more demand over what my Kamen Rider is supposed to be like than I do my Super Sentai. And all I look for is a fun ride, entertaining characters, and if I'm lucky, some eye candy. Sadly, there's no eye candy, so I have to go with everything else.
In which show?
What we're watching right now.
Oh, Zenkaiger.
Zenkaiger.
Well, it would be kind of weird if you were looking at him for eye candy when he's probably like...
Don't you dare say...
What, like 25 years younger than you? Okay, no.
I was going to say, he's not 15.
22?
No, he's older than 18. You can tell. He is one of the few Japanese people that I can tell doesn't look as young.
Like the Turbo Ranger cast, who are supposed to be high schoolers, but they look like they're in their mid-20s.
Yes. I honestly feel like when you do that review, I need to sit in on it because I just watched 2 episodes and I'm like, WTF.
So,
but nevertheless, I feel as though the series is trying. Is it going to succeed or fail? Time will tell. But I am willing to at least watch up to the entire team merging together. I also hope that they use their CGI a little bit better or make it a little bit more realistic so it doesn't feel like you're outside of the immersion. Because you can do really good CGI.
Well, Kira Major did good stuff with the CGI.
Exactly. I understand you have money and it's not as much as you did before because you're a tier lower now, but come on.
Yeah, but then again, they did the shows without CGI in the 80s and 90s just fine.
Yes, but you do have to remember production costs are so much more expensive now than they were before.
Yeah, but practical effects is still cheaper than CGI.
Practical effects may be cheaper than CGI, but we're also in the middle of a pandemic. So doing practical effects in the middle of anything, because you can tell they don't have their quarry anymore. So who knows what other sets they don't have any longer. So that could be the flip side of why they have to do CGI if they don't have anything else.
Whatever. I'm just going to hope that episode 3 is better.
Well, it has pink in it, and it has Maji Ranger.
You're not helping me.
It's going to be good, y'all.
You are not convincing me one bit.
We'll give it a shot. Kaiju Kami will not post some kind of rant-heavy tweet.
Rant-heavy? It was like it was like one sentence. It wasn't even like I actually did this whole tweet on hate. It was just hilarious. I'm just like, I go on there last night, I was like, 39 notifications, what?
Well, honey.
But I will say, it gave me some fuel for when I eventually want to do that mean comments video.
Okay. To end our lovely little episode, all I want to say to the world, including yourself, breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out.
Alright.
It is okay. I promise you. It's okay.
Alright, whatever. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. You can support us on Patreon at Kaiju no Kami, Facebook Kaiju no Kami, Instagram Kaiju no Kami, Twitter at Kaiju no Kami, and my website creativitybydesignllc.com. Until next time.
Bye.
Really? That's how you
Bye.